Buenos noches, everyone. So I know I haven't made a video in a while, but we've had a lot of rain and weird sound just now and a lot of things, but Adeline and I are here. We wanted to show y'all what our garden's currently looking like.
Yes.
I know I previously said, and a lot of times said, that we got our garden very late because of all the rain. And I mean, it was like, sometimes it was 5 inches of rain just over the weekend. So they just got back from my mother-in-law. But it was a lot of rain. So I just want to give y'all, okay, un beso. I just want to give y'all a quick update of what our garden's currently looking like, and if we have anything actually popping up. We have our purple whole peas. Y'all saw them last time when they were like this big. Stuff with our rabbits. Last time y'all saw all of Chloe's babies, and just a lot of things have kind of happened since then. So
and we want to show. I'm gonna stand right here.
well, we're gonna go show them stuff in the garden.
I promise.
Let's go show them stuff in the garden.
Okay.
So I'm gonna show y'all these flowers. These are supposed to be milkweed for caterpillars and butterflies and hummingbirds and whatnot. And when I first bought these, I'm gonna have to go back and see if I even introduced these in a video, but they were originally like about this tall when I first got them. They were very small, and I got 2 plants, and you're gonna see right now we have a lot of weeds. It really sucks, but in our profession, my husband and I both work full-time, so whenever we are outside in the garden, it's, you know, when we're able to be. So there's going to be a lot of weeds and more. But this is our milkweed. You can see we have 2 of them. And then we have zinnias. I've never grown zinnias before. I didn't even know what they were until I started watching Roots and Refuge and just learned about flowers and whatnot and what is good for the garden. And these zinnias I actually started from seed. I sowed these, I think Adeline and I sowed these outdoors in 6-packs or something smaller, one of the 2, and we ended up getting these out of them. So I've never seen these flowers before I started them, other than watching Roots and Refuge. So it was kind of nice to see that I was able to start flowers and learning that the flowers are good for the garden, especially when these are good pollinators and everything, because all these little guys in there, well, there's pollen. So, and next I have catnip. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that. I just wanted to grow it. The original reason I actually started growing catnip was for my mom. I wanted to grow catnip because my mom has 4 cats now. She first had 3 of them, and now she has 4 because she just rescued one. But that was the main reason why I wanted to grow catnip, because I wanted to grow some for my mom, because she always has catnip for her cats.
Also, Snow White is her cat that went to heaven, and
yes,
she's not ever coming back.
Okay,
so.
she went to heaven. It's okay.
Yeah.
But that's why I decided to start growing catnip. And then I know y'all saw that I started okra. The very first video that I made was of okra.
We like okra. I don't ever eat okra.
You like okra?
No.
So you mean I like okra?
Yeah.
Mommy likes okra, not we. We, plural, more than one. But y'all saw in my very first video that I started okra, and it didn't quite turn. What are you doing, weirdo?
I don't know why.
Why are you touching my armpits, crazy? And then y'all saw that it really didn't quite work out, so I ended up actually re-sowing everything. And this is the okra that y'all saw the last video that I ended up doing. And they may not be crazy tall, but okra also grows really fast. So, and then like I just said, they're not in complete sunlight. I've tried to go through here, and you can see in the middle of the rows, get some of the weeds out, but we're not lucky enough to have, like, you know, straw and we can get some straw, but just the amount of time it really does take with all this, it's a lot. So I really don't know. So okra's gonna be fine. As it gets taller, all the weeds down here are basically going to, I don't want to say suffocate, but like they're not going to have anywhere to reach the sun. And that's what's going to be good with that, is because the okras are going to get taller, it's going to block off sun, and the weeds aren't going to grow as much. I actually signed up for something for, I guess, wood chips. I ended up seeing it. I don't know if it was on the Roots and Refuge page or if it was something else, but I ended up seeing that you can actually sign up to get wood chips delivered to your house. So when the tree companies come out there and they go and they cut trees down and everything, that whenever they end up having wood chips, they can actually come and deliver it to your house. I didn't know about that, but I actually signed up for it. I have to figure out exactly what it's called, what the site is called, but I ended up seeing it from just another local gardener, not local, but you know, on Facebook, say something about it. So I'm actually waiting to see if I ever will end up getting some wood chips delivered to our house, because that would be nice, because it would help with all the weeds, you know. Next we have a volunteer. This is, I believe, some type of squash or zucchini, or I don't think it's a melon, but it is a volunteer. And then we have our tomatoes. Like I've said before, we started our garden late. All the seeds and stuff were started pretty okay, but getting everything in ground was the issue. You can see all of these. I would have to look up my previous videos to see the varieties, because honestly I don't quite remember which ones I put in here. They're probably going to be Paul Robeson's Black Beauty and other ones. I'd have to, and I think Kellogg's Breakfast, that's one of them also, and I'd have to look up exactly what they are. Next we have ground cherries. So ground cherries, these are the 2 or 3 plants that I have of ground cherries. I actually had a bunch, and like I said, we got our garden in late, so I kind of just left them be, and the pots and packs that they were in, they ended up getting much larger than they should have been. But ground cherries are basically a mix of tomatillos or tomatillo and tomatoes. They grow in husk like tomatillos, and then they kind of have like the sweetness of a tomato, or whatever you think a tomato would be like. So I can show y'all those, and lots of weeds. So you can see on here all these little husks. Those are all ground cherries. And when they start to get kind of like this, and apparently with the bug on it also, that flies. Cool. So normally I will come in here. So normally in the mornings and any other time, I'll actually come over here and I'll go and just kind of grab the ground cherry up like this. It used to be upright a little bit more, but I'll go and just grab it and try to fill on it, because sometimes when they are ripe, I may not really get them. And like, here's one right here. It's a ripe one, because it's just gonna fall off. And I'm about to show y'all exactly what they look like. But there's this plant and this plant. I'm gonna leave it be since I already got one. But I will show y'all exactly what they look like. So when I said that they are like tomatillo or a tomatillo, they're like this in a husk, just like tomatillos are. And I am growing some tomatillos, so I can show y'all exactly what they look like. And they look like this. And then when they're ripe like this and they fall off, because it's kind of like paper, and you just go and you pop it out like that. Ground cherries do not get very large, so they're like that. You just take it out, and then it's almost like I guess when you look at it, it does kind of look like a little tomato. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bite it in half and I'm gonna show you all exactly what it looks like inside. This one was small. So you can kind of see that it has really small seeds. Like okay, up close it may look big. We're dealing with flies bad. So up close it may look very big, but far away, at the size of my head, you can see exactly how big this is. But the taste is like candy. That's the only reason I stopped, because if I wouldn't have stopped, I would have kept picking them and picking them and picking them, and I would have got way too many. But they literally taste like candy. So now I'm gonna show y'all our tomatillos. And we actually have two varieties. We have the regular tomatillo verde, and then we have purple tomatillos. The purple tomatillos are from, I think actually both varieties are from Baker's Creek, and you can get those, I think, at Rare Seeds. I don't know if it's rareseeds.com or whatnot, but it's Rare Seeds. And I'm assuming these are the purple tomatillos, because if you see those, it's in a purple and green husk. And now if you understand what I'm saying about ground cherries, they grow in a husk just like tomatillos. And I'm not gonna pinch it too much, because it's actually, like when I do this, I can't feel the inside of it. But if I pinch a little bit harder, then maybe I could. But we have that variety. And that's when earlier I was telling y'all how I knew that I had two separate varieties. I think it was the last video, it's been a while, that I ended up making, where my husband and I were out here, which is Paul. Sorry, Jay. I'm gonna acknowledge him properly for you. So Paul and I, which is my husband, were out here, and then Selena was out here also, and we ended up planting all of this. So then now I can show you exactly what the regular tomatillo looks like. You guys just saw that one that had the purple stripes on it, and it's purple and green. And then this one is a regular tomatillo. And you can see when I pinch it, well, look, from here to there, this one's actually much larger. Like where my fingers are stopping, that's how big it is. So this one's getting pretty big. Last year, we ended up growing tomatillos, and I'm not exactly sure how big these are gonna get, because it's not like how it is when you go inside your grocery store. When you go inside your grocery store, I'm pretty sure most of those vegetables and whatnot I'm pretty sure that most of those vegetables and fruits are grown inside a greenhouse or a controlled environment, and ours are not. So ours may get, only like this big, versus if you buy tomatillos in stores, I've seen some that are like this big. They are ridiculously huge, and I've never really understood why they're that big. But it's probably something with how they're grown indoors, they're grown commercially. It's completely different with, I don't want to say organic gardening, but when I think of it, how we're gardening, growing things, it really is organically. Like the fertilizers that we're using our rabbit poop. We use, when we process an animal, you can dilute the blood, and you can use that also. So it is kind of more organically than I guess I thought it really was. The most is that we'll probably buy some fish emulsion from Lowe's or Home Depot, but we can probably pretty easily get our own fish emulsion. Like if we wanted to have our own fish, we could pretty easily do that, but we don't, and it's okay. But next, I want to show y'all my cucumbers. I just saw yesterday that they were starting to produce, and like I've said before and many other times, we got our garden in very late. And the type of cucumbers that I'm growing this year, they are called Armenian yard-long cucumber. As far as I know, I think they're almost more like a gourd than a cucumber, but I ended up getting these from Baker's Creek, and yesterday I ended up seeing that I finally got one of my first ones. Here it is. It's gonna end up with an ant on it, apparently. It's gonna end up getting much larger. I have a few other ones that you can see. And these cucumbers, I have one here that I've just shown you, and I think here and there. And these are all on cattle panels, just like our tomatoes. And to kind of guide them through this guy that you can see back there, I need to, and there's actually a cucumber on there also. I just need to show it and just wrap it around some so it knows that it's supposed to trellis. Because like with this one, I've done that, and then I got it to up there, and then I think I pinned it to right here, and now it naturally just goes. These little guys will go and grasp onto everything, and like you can see right here, that's exactly what they've done. They'll go and they'll latch around this, and they just go, 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 go. If you could see those bugs, I have no idea what kind of bugs those are. They might be good, they might be bad for the garden, but you can see weeds all around our garden, so it's not like we've been completely on top of everything. But we're able to eat food out of our garden, and that is what is most important. So on to the next one. You guys saw those. So like this guy down here, and you can already see it has a cucumber on it. So what I'll do, I would put it in this direction with them, but being that we don't have that much down there on the cattle panels, I think, and cattle panels can also be called, like in garden forms, cattle panels can also be called trellises. So if you hear someone talk about a trellis and it kind of looks like this, where it's not just like a regular tomato cage or something that is $30 and it's like 3 feet by 4 feet, it's not very big. But you can see now I've gone and done this, and these little vines or whatever, I'm wanting to call these trindles for some reason, these little hairs will go and wrap around. Like this one up here will probably go and wrap around either over here or up here, and it'll make its way around. And then I have a type of squash over here. I don't remember what kind it is. I can probably very easily figure it out, but they do have some pretty white flowers, so that's nice. And then for the moment of truth, now looking at this, I really do have some bad weeds over my green beans, and apparently ants on my back. Whoa. I have other peppers that are happening, but do you guys see those bad boys? Not those weeds. I know the weeds are bad boys, but I'm talking about those bad boys. Ooh, yeah. Those are purple whole peas. Growing up, I did not know what purple whole peas were. Once I got with my husband, I ended up learning what purple whole peas were. And now in our family, I feel like it's gonna be weird saying this, but it actually has become a pretty big deal. Purple whole peas have become sort of a staple for us whenever we make back straps, venison of rice. Now we have rabbits or whatever else, but purple whole peas, when my husband first told me about them, I was like, ugh, peas. Honestly, I hate peas, but I grew up eating the generic canned peas that you buy in the grocery stores that they're called sweet peas. I don't know how sweet they are because they did not seem very sweet to me. They were mushy and gross to me. So, but these, I will make them with what I've said, and normally also with some fried okra. Ooh, cannot wait for that. But I will make them with some fried okra, and so I'll do purple whole peas like backstrap or venison of rice with some fried okra, some squash from our garden, some zucchini from our garden, And I'm the only one that eats okra, squash, and zucchini, but it is, I hope you can just see my face with that. And this, like, it is so dang good. And I wish anyone and everyone could have that experience of eating something that good and knowing that everything that you're eating for dinner, backstrap, was from a deer that you killed this past year, a buck that walked out, or doe that walked out. Purple whole peas are the ones that you grew from your garden that are right here. So many of them. And the great thing about those is this is going to be our first line of them. We're going to end up having many more. And then you end up having your squash and zucchini that you also grew from your garden. And maybe I'll end up having some tomatoes, and I can add some tomatillos and other things in there that is just going to be amazing. Like, there's so many good things about gardening that I know a lot of people it can be hard, or they don't have a green thumb, they have a black thumb, a rotten thumb, whatever it is. Dude, anyone can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I've literally planted, y'all saw where I planted sunflowers at my back door. Chickens ended up scratching those up. And then I planted okra. Chickens ended up scratching those up. But then guess what? It was time for us to process the other ones anyways. And now I have like 3 or 4 okra plants at my back door. So with that, if you feel like you need some extra shade in front of a window in your house, plant some okra. Okra will pop up so fast and you don't have to worry about anything. So here I am, making my way downtown, not necessarily walking fast, blah, 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 but you can see all of our purple whole peas from here. But you can see all of our purple whole peas from here to all the way back there. And with that, dude, we have more volunteers, and I'm pretty sure this is another form of squash or something. But last year we did have some stuff pop up. Right now I'm over here by our shed that actually needs to be moved right there, but we need the proper wood to put as a floor. But as many as you know, you probably already see how ridiculous the wood prices are right now of anything housing material. It's freaking crazy. But with that, we have another volunteer here, another volunteer here. Let's see. Oh, another volunteer here. Dude, I'm finding even more. Volunteer there, there, and there's more down there. And I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. You know, we got our garden in late. I'm okay with any and all volunteers at the moment because we started so late. But on that end with the garden, it's time to show you guys our rabbits. So here is Jenkins of Leroy Jenkins. You might be hearing the fan right there. That is to help with just the heat and everything else of Louisiana. We live in Northwest Louisiana, so we have heat. Yes, it can be in the 90s, but the biggest problem is the humidity. The humidity just, the other day, I think I was telling my husband how it was, according to the Weather Channel, when I looked at how hot it was outside, it said that it was a high of 93 that day. But the heat index, which ends up being also super, just the reason because of humidity, the heat index was 108 degrees. So it's not because it's just, oh my God, the sun out, blah, blah, blah. No, it's the freaking humidity. It can hurt you bad. And then we have Reginald, aka Reggie. We have Betty, Black Betty Wambalam. Betty actually ended up having, I'm gonna have to see, it was 4 or 5 kits. When I say kits, that means babies. She ended up having 4 or 5 kits. I'm gonna have to see exactly what date it was, but because of how hot it was and how much hair she pulls out, I mean, she and Allie, they end up pulling out a lot of hair. And it just, that one day, a couple of days later, all of her kits were fine. They were alive and well. And the next thing is, my husband walked out here, and I think it was about a day or two after it was raining like crazy, one of those like 5-inch rain type of days. And he ended up coming out here after, the next morning and said, hey, they all passed. And it was literally because of just the weather. And that's the one thing with rabbits. Like I said, we are not pros on this. We are still kind of new with this. We started last October, so we haven't even hit a year yet. We've learned a lot. But with rabbits, especially where we are, they do not do good with the heat. So if you end up breeding them and it gets way too hot, they could, either the parents could pass or the babies could pass, or the parents and the babies. It's just, and we ended up learning. And then we have Miss Chloe over here. We moved her over here by herself. Last time y'all saw Miss Chloe had 10 kits, and they were big. We ended up processing them, and we have so far we've eaten 1 full meal, and then I ended up giving some to a friend because she wanted some for like her parents and everything else, and that's it. And then, do you guys remember them? These are our Wyandotte or Wyandotte chickens, whichever form people feel like using proper. I don't know the proper way to say their name, but we currently only have 2 hens. Before, y'all saw that we had 8 total, and it was 4 hens and 4 roosters, and now we only have 2. So that means we processed 6 chickens. We processed all of the roosters for sure because they were starting to cock-a-doodle-doo. You okay, Panda? You okay? But we processed all 4 of our roosters because they were starting to crow, and you're not supposed to have roosters in city limits, so we processed them, and then the 2 other hens because in reality we didn't need them. And then, you guys, do y'all remember Miss Allie, our big white female or doe? These are all of her babies. They are now in the rabbit tractor. Mama's laying down, as you can tell, and all of her babies are on top of her. And these guys are currently, I believe they are almost 8 weeks old or already 8 weeks old. In order for rabbits to be on the grass, at least on our end, we prefer for them to be at least 6 weeks old. So that means that these guys, they've probably been out here for, yeah, they probably are about 8 weeks old, because when we processed Chloe's kits, they were already about 10 weeks old, Chloe's kits, and then Allie's kits were already about 6 weeks old because it was time for them to come out here. But these are these guys, and we have been looking for homes for them. Most people that end up wanting rabbits, meat rabbits or New Zealand's, Allie's kits are actually, if you can see this one, Reggie or Reginald, our red buck, he is, as far as I know, I know y'all are seeing this. He is 3/4 Flemish Giant, and then the rest of it is New Zealand. So that means all of these babies, I'm assuming by now, are probably gonna be half and half, and that's why this one right there looks just like his daddy, Reggie, and I actually call him Reggie Jr., and it is a buck. So if you want a good looking buck, we got one that's in there, and he's pretty, and he's red and everything else. And we have plenty more, and they're gonna be a little bit larger than the regular old New Zealand's. And then, just to show real quick, or just to tell you, we still have all of our quail. We have had one pass out of nowhere, and then we had, I think that was it. No, we had one pass out of nowhere, and we weren't exactly sure what had happened, but then, excuse me, we ended up learning that quail, they end up needing a certain amount of space for height, because if they have too much room, they will actually jump up and they will hit their head on the top of whatever they're in, and I don't think they mean to do it intentionally. They can just jump high and they can actually break their neck. And that's something that actually, I'm pretty sure happened with our first one, because we came out here and she was dead. Well, we came out here and she was dead. So we basically ended up learning that she most likely hit her head on the very top. And, you know, it's not something, I want to say it's not something that they mean to do, but that's just something we've also learned with quail, is that, you know, if you give them a little bit too much space. And since then, you know, my husband is building the new rabbit pen, hutch, whatnot, and coop, and they'll be a little bit better. So we have, and then we had another one ended up passing, and it looked like it was a male, and it looked like one of the other males just kind of got on him a little too much, and one of his eyes looked like he was just pecked in the eye. And that's something with, when you hear pecking with birds, there's a pecking order. There's a pecking order with all of them. So you really can't do too much about it other than just try to watch them and monitor. And we have with even one other male, we called him our pretty quail. And he was actually mean to another quail, and we separated all of them. And that pretty quail actually ended up getting beat up by some other males. And we ended up actually having to separate him and put him with the one that he was mean to at first. Because, I mean, when I say they were beaten up, they'll go and they'll peck the back of their neck, like right here on them, and they'll make it like kind of raw. So it's something that like really needed, we had to separate them. It was bad. But at the same time, I was like, well, you were a butthead, like trying to get what you deserved. But I just wanted to show you all a little bit of what is going on within our backyard garden. Things will hopefully get a little better. But I know it's been a while, and I just wanted to say hey. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.